Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Alright, so we are continuing in the book of 2 Kings and today we are going to be covering 2 Kings chapter 17. If you haven't read this, please pause this recording so that then you can read the chapter, understand what it is saying and understand the story, pick your own lessons before you can listen to the summary and the lessons that I have for you. If you're here for the very first time, please subscribe, like, share this with someone else and hit the notification bell so that then you don't miss any recording that goes up. So today we are going to focus on Israel. Remember guys, two kingdoms, two kingdoms, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. We have just, in the chapter 16, we have focused on the kingdom of Judah with a king called Ahaz. And today we are going to be looking at chapter 17, which focuses on the kingdom of Israel, a specific king called Hoshea. So right, a few things to note about Hoshea. Hoshea was the king that assassinated the previous king by the name Pekah. Pekah was the king that assassinated the previous king by the name Pekah here. So you can already tell he's an evil king. Huyu Hoshea pia yeye si ati ni vile ni mzuri. Pia yeye ni mbaya as all the kings of Israel. Something else to note is that today in this chapter is when the kingdom of Israel falls completely. This is the last king of Israel. Hoshea was the last king of Israel. Today is when everything goes to the dogs for Israel. All right, let me just tell you guys what the summary was. So Hoshea, an evil king, but the Bible actually records that he wasn't as evil as the previous kings. Like he wasn't evil to the same extent as the previous kings. I don't know whether kuna kwanga, like maybe this is the reason why people think, or rather why we think that there is a level of sins. Like kuna huyu mwenye amesin sana, kuna huyu mwenye hajasin sana. Because actually it records that he wasn't as bad as all the previous kings. And then so what happened is that the king of Assyria has come now to attack Hoshea. So Hoshea is just over there thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? The king of Assyria is here. He wants to attack us. So he tried to conspire with the king of Egypt against the king of Assyria. So he basically goes to the king of Egypt for help and tries to conspire against king of Assyria. But the king of Assyria discovered this plan and he seizes Hoshea and he imprisons him. And in this moment when he is imprisoned, the king of Assyria invaded Samaria, which is Israel's capital city, or rather, it is, let me just call it Israel's capital city. And then Samaria, this Israel's capital city, was besieged for 3 years. And finally, after some few years, it fell down and all its people, all the people of Samaria were exiled to Assyria. And that is basically the end of the northern kingdom. And then the Bible is very clear to say why it is that God punished them, or what it is that happened for them to be exiled. It says that they were exiled because they worshipped idol gods, because they followed the practices of the pagan nations that were living in that land before them. You remember the pagan nations that God had to drive out to give that land to Israel? They didn't kill them as God had instructed to kill them, but they went and started following their practices, and they did not also heed the numerous warnings that God gave them. There were numerous warnings. You guys were going to get to the book of Isaiah, and there was numerous warnings of what is going to happen. And there are many prophets that actually came and said, you guys turn back to God. You guys turn back to God. Otherwise, you're going to be exiled. Otherwise, you're going to be there were numerous warnings to the people of Israel. There were numerous warnings even to the people of Judah, but they did not listen to this warning. So the reason why they were exiled, first because they worshipped idol gods, second because they followed the practices of the pagan nations, and they did not heed the numerous warnings that God gave them. So what happened after they were all exiled to Assyria? The king of Assyria resettled foreigners in Israel. He went and carried the Babylonians, Kuthams, Avars, Hamath, Sepharaims, he carried all those people and put them in Israel and resettled them there. But because these guys, these other new tribes, quote unquote, that have been, let me just call them foreigners, these other new foreigners that have been resettled in Israel were not worshippers of God, God sent lions to eat some of them. Oh my God. God sent lions. This sounds like Rongai. Sounds like Rongai. But anyway, so yeah, God sent them lions to eat some of them. And so when King of Assyria realized, oh my goodness, these guys are being eaten by lions because they're not worshippers of God. So what did he do? He sent back a priest, one of the priests that had been exiled to Assyria, that had come from Samaria. He sent him back and told him, you go back to Israel, you go back to Samaria and teach the foreigners how to worship your God. Because clearly, huyu Mungu wenu atamaliza hawa watu wenye nimeresettle huko. So of course the priest went, he tried to teach them how to worship God, but each of those tribe of foreigners had their own idol worship and idol gods, and even after the priest was sent among them, they still did not stop their practices. We aren't told, or rather in that chapter, we aren't told what exactly happened to those foreigners. Maybe in the next book, maybe we will, before we finish this whole Bible, we probably will figure out what happened to these other foreigners, because clearly they did not stop worshipping God. So what are the lessons that we can learn from this chapter, which I feel like are pretty obvious? Rebellion against God and God's instructions will bring discipline and eventual judgment. Wacha nirudie tu hivyo, kwa sababu hiyo lesson is self-explanatory. Rebellion against God's instruction will bring discipline and eventual judgment. But there's hope, because God will always send us numerous warnings and give us numerous chances for us to turn back to Him. So maybe the question we need to be asking ourselves is, are we missing on a warning that God is sending us? Are we missing on a chance to turn back to God? Look at your life. Look at the people that God is sending your way, and you're probably dismissing them or pushing them away because they're telling you some itchy truth. Is God sending you a warning and you're missing it? Is God giving you a chance to turn back to Him and you're missing it? But because before God sends the discipline and the eventual judgment, He will send you numerous warnings and numerous chances for you to turn back to Him. So look into your life and ask yourself, are you missing any warning? Are you missing any chance to turn back to God? This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.